Like the previous one, this video is also going to be dedicated to adding construction elements to our warped surface roof. But in this case, instead of using beams, we are going to create a truss, or maybe series of trusses that are going to be holding this in place. Now, unlike beams, trusses are a bit more complicated just in their construction alone, and then of course, we have to adapt that to our curved surface. So it is going to be a bit more difficult, but in the end, it does work really good. So before we start inserting trusses, because if I go here to structure and go to trusses, you're going to notice that we don't really have any loaded in. But before I load in the structural trusses, I tend to load the beams first. So truss basically looks like this, as you can see here. It's just a simple diagram, and then Revit uses that diagram in order to incorporate or apply structural beams along all of these chords. So first you have to load in the beams, and then you can create a truss. Now in this case, just by default in the architecture template, you only get one of these beams. So what I'm going to do is go here to load family, and then I'm going to search for the structural framing. Open that up, then go to steel, and let's go to the same universal beam, UB, and then I'm going to choose something a bit smaller for this, so maybe something like 250, like this, and then click OK. Okay, so once we have the beam loaded in, we can go back to the structure tab, then go to truss. Now again, we get that pop-up saying that we don't really have any trusses loaded in. Would you like to load one now? And yes, that's exactly what we want to do. So let's just click yes. And then here, it's going to open up the previously opened up menu or directory, which is the steel framing. So let's go back a couple of folders, scroll down again, find structural trusses. Here we go. Open that up. And here we have to choose from different trusses. You can select one and then use the arrow keys, and that little preview at the right upper corner of the screen shows you what you have. And what they tend to do is use this Howie flat truss. So you can start with that, or maybe something like this, but this one is the one that I prefer. So you want to start off with a flat truss and then just click open. And that truss is now loaded in. So for this truss, let's move to the site plan in order to place it. So once you go here to the site plan, go to truss. Here you can use the truss height, so you can set it up. Now this is a fairly big surface. We have started off with a large surface. So I'm going to increase this from 1800 millimeters to 3800 millimeters. So this is going to be quite a large truss. Okay, now let's add these vertically, so a vertical construction. So let's start off here, and you always want to start off just a little bit inside of the surface. So you don't ever want to go near the edges, or especially outside of edges, because in that case it's not really going to work. Revit needs to have the surface above the truss at all places. So just go a little bit towards the inside, and let's create a vertical line just like that towards the end. There we go. Hit the escape key a couple of times, and now we can move to the 3D view just to see what we have. So this is what we have at the moment. Now the next step that you want to do is, as you can see, this is currently at level 1. That's okay. The level doesn't really matter in these cases because we're going to be heavily modifying the position of this truss. So the next step is to attach the top chord of the truss. So the truss has the bottom chord and the top chord. So you want to attach the top chord all the way up to this roof surface. You do that by selecting the truss, going attach top, and then selecting the roof itself. Oops, let's try that again. I have clicked next to it. So, oops, let's see. So attach top chord or attach top, and then here select the roof. Now this is going to take a while because it's a complicated truss, it's a complicated surface roof, but if we just give it a few moments, it's going to do its magic, and this is what we get. Now usually you're not going to leave everything looking like this. It does look a bit silly, I must admit. So the next step is to actually select the truss itself and then go here into edit profile. So we can actually edit or modify the profile of this truss. Now what I like to do is go into edit profile, and here it's going to say the truss top and or bottom chord profile is ignored, blah, blah, blah. Just click OK. And there we go. So this line represents the top chord and this line represents the bottom chord. Now for our bottom chord, that's the one that we want to change, and we want it to follow along the curvature of this roof. It doesn't have to follow it perfectly, just about. So I'm just going to use the start and radius arc, but make sure to click here first on the bottom chord, click on that arc, so make sure both of these are highlighted in blue, just like that. Then you can click somewhere like this, then somewhere like this, and then create that arc, just like this. Hit the escape key a couple of times, and there we go. So we have that new curvature for the bottom of our truss. Now, a couple of more things that we need to do in order to make this work is to select that original bottom chord of the truss and just hit delete. So once that is deleted, we can now finish this, but there's just one more thing to do. The top chord is now below our top chord, and Revit is going to recognize that as a mistake. So I like to select that top chord, use the move tool, and just move it up just to make sure that it's above that bottom chord. So it doesn't really matter where it is, it just needs to be above, and then you can hit finish, wait for a few moments for Revit to kind of recalculate, and this is what we get. So there we go, we have our truss that is perfectly following the curvature of our roof. Now of course you can add multiple ones along this surface, so you can go back into the site plan, maybe turn on wireframe mode, so we can see that we have one truss here. We can then go to truss again, add one here perhaps, maybe add one here, and finally one here towards the edge. There we go. Now, of course, you can play around with the positioning. You can add some dimensions just to make sure that everything looks correct. But there we go. You just want to add all of these trusses. You can then make perhaps a group selection using the control key. Attach top chord, click. Then it's going to wait for a moment just to recalculate. And then all of these are going to go all the way up to that roof curvature. Let's see, as you can see, more trusses that we have, the longer it takes for Revit to recalculate this, and this is of course going to heavily depend on the speed of your computer. There we go. Okay, now what I like to do is select the kind of the final one at the edge, go into Edit Profile, let's click OK, and then for the bottom chord, we can use pick lines and then try to follow this. So just click here on this bottom chord of the first truss that we have created. So it's going to mimic that curve. And then we can just hit the escape key, delete the bottom one, move this one up. There we go. Hit finish, and it's basically just going to mimic the truss that we have on the other side. Now you could have used mirror to kind of copy it, or just copy to move it, but I'm not really sure that the curvature is the same at this side and at this side. We kind of made this whole shape rather quickly, so I just didn't want to risk that. Anyways, now let's move to the middle ones. So I'm going to select this one, go into Edit Profile, click OK. And then bottom chord, again, let's use an arc that goes maybe from here. It's kind of difficult working in 3D, but I prefer it over using elevations in this case. Then we can do something that looks like that. There we go. Select and delete the bottom chord and just move this one up, perhaps using the move tool. Move it straight up. Just make sure that it's above that one. Hit finish. Wait for a few moments for Revit again to recalculate that. There we go. Looks perfect. And finally, to finish it off, let's finish this one by again going into Edit Profile. Click OK. We can delete the bottom one, go to the bottom chord, and then use pick lines again. And then we have this one. So select the bottom chord, and it's just going to mimic that line. And then we can select the top chord, use the move tool, and move that all the way up. Perfect. Hit finish. And if we just wait for a few more moments, yeah, this is what we have. So I'm really happy with the way this turned out. And then you can play around with the rest of the construction. Maybe you want to add some beams, maybe something else, or some columns below. And you can use these truss in combination with those beams, which I've shown you in the previous video. If you haven't seen that, just go back one video, and there you can see that. So you can use the combination of beams and trusses, or you can use beams alone or trusses alone. But there you go. It's a really quick way of making some unique structural elements and then adapting them to these curved surfaces.